Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Andrew and I am the Gearhead Drummer. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button, make sure to hit that notification bell so you know when all my new content comes out. Guys, today I'm showing you how to tune your snare drum. To tune your snare drum, you need multiple things. You need a drum key, you need drumsticks. For a snare drum you need two actually. You need whatever way you can get comfortable at a table in just any way. Currently I am choosing to be on my drum stool on a table that's bigger than all of my drums except for my bass drum, and I put some blanket that I really don't care all that much about. If it gets wood shavings and stuff like that out, it doesn't really bother me all that much. If you so choose, like I am today, I am changing out my snare drum head. I have both the snare side right here, the snare side 300, and I have my Genera dry batter head. We can put those drum heads aside for now. To start replacing your drum head, you want to start with the snare side. Put the drum on its bottom. You look at right here, there's a throw off right here. What you want to do is you want to loosen, you want to turn off the throw off right here, and then you want to loosen these two screws right here. Some require a drum key, and some require just like a regular screwdriver. There's also some on the other side over here. Now you may have nylon straps, you may have fabric straps, you may have plastic straps. It doesn't really matter what you have holding your snare drum, your snare wires to your snare side head. Personally, I prefer these strings that I've got, or you could use a nylon strap are the best two options. Those plastic straps usually don't hold as well and usually suck. So once you've loosened these up enough, you want to remove the straps from these slots right here, and then you want to take the snare wires and put them off to the side safely without damaging them, because these snare wires are really easy to break. So once you got them off, you have your snare side and you have batter side. You can start with either one. I prefer to start with the batter side when it comes to taking the drum heads off. Take the batter side head off. You start by putting the drum key in on any of the lugs. Remember which lug you chose, so I'm choosing the one, for the way I'm looking at it, it's the bottom slightly right of the Evans logo, and turn it just a quarter. You don't want to turn it more than an eighth. I say you start with a quarter and see how it goes. If you do more than an eighth, it can start to actually damage the drum head and the drum, because you don't really care about this drum head, you're replacing this one. The lug pattern that you want to use to remove it, well, there's multiple different ones I should say. So the lug pattern that I choose to use is start at the one that you chose, move across, move one over, go across, then move one over in the same direction. So if you turn counterclockwise, when you go to the opposite side, go counterclockwise again. Once you've moved to that one, go opposite, counterclockwise again, go opposite, counterclockwise again, and then just keep doing that pattern until you've got the whole drum head loose. Once you're at a point of getting pretty loose, you can start to do half turns. And now, I have all the lugs except for this single one loose. The reason for that is I play a lot of left-hand shots, so this lug tends to get lower in tension, or this area tends to get lower in tension with the drum head, you know, just from hitting this area more often. So this lug is tighter than the rest. You want to get it looser before you make sure that all the lugs are loose. So now all your lugs are loose, you should just be able to spin with no problem. You should be able to spin it off. And this you can just, once it's completely loose, the whole head, you can just spin off any single one of them at any speed. Anyway. Alright, once you remove the head, or the rim I should say, the head might come with it. Be careful, there's going to be a lot of wood shavings most likely, so just kind of find the nearest trash can, which I didn't think about. Dump them in there, and well, there you go. There's your old drum head. You know, that's that. Set your rim off to the side. There's a lot of myths. Some people like to put the same side rim, like batter side and resonant side. That's usually a tom thing. You can't do that with a snare drum because you have a snare side rim. But a lot of people like to, you know, make sure that the rim is at the exact same point on the drum. So like this lug would always be with, you know, this lug casing. I don't think it's true. I don't do that. So I'll just randomly slap the rim on wherever. So set the rim off to the side. Make sure you got all the lugs, and then do the same process to the bottom side. The resonant side off, put the rim off to the side. Now these drum heads are extremely thin. I honestly don't know why, but they are like the thinnest thing on the freaking planet. So be careful with these when you're buying new ones and putting new ones on. You can toss that off to the side now. So next thing you want to do when you are putting your head together, you got your drum heads. You want to start with taking your snare side drum head, your extremely thin drum head, and you want to put this onto the drum. Now I am OCD as hell about the way I put my heads on drums. The logo, the Evans logo, I like to line it up in the same place. So now if you take the drum, I have my throw off on the left side. The way it's set up is the throw off comes down this way. I want my logos on the very front of the drum, in between the lug casings. So I, being as OCD as I am, I want my Evans logo right there. Then I take my resonant side rim, the one with the holes in it, the slots, and I line up the slots with the two sides of the throw-off. Just want to put the lugs inside the lug casing, still keeping them loose, but put all of them in there, just get them to catch. Once you've caught all of them, so then now you know the rim is going to sit properly, you just want to take the lugs and you want to finger tighten them. Now, if for whatever reason your drum is fighting you, the head is fighting to go into the drum, kind of like this one is, make sure that the edge of the drum head is inside of the rim properly. You want to tighten them, you want to finger tighten them across. You never want to finger tighten them right next to each other. So like this one's fighting me a little bit right now. So you want to make sure it's threaded in properly in the lug casing. It's fighting me a little bit on the lug casing, so you want to make sure it's got no tension on the drum itself, just maybe a little bit more than finger tight. You can take the drum key if you've got a big drum key like I do, and kind of finger tighten it a little bit. You want to take your drum key and turn it all a quarter turn. Like I said, this is a really loose drum head. You want to go through that lug pattern that I showed you to take it off, and you want to put them all a quarter turn. And because this is so loose, it will take a second for it to start looking like it's tight. If you push down in the center, it's starting to get tension at the edges, it looks all wrinkly. That's perfectly normal. Keep tightening it until you see all the wrinkles disappear. you'll notice that where the snare wires are, where the holes are, it's going to be a little bit harder because snares are built in with a snare bed where it's a flatter edge than the rest of the snare drum. That's perfectly normal. Now, if you take your drumstick, now that I've got all the wrinkles out, tap it lightly. It's got a pretty unsettling tone to it. So what you want to do is you want to go around to each lug. Now, like I said, this is a really, really thin head. You want to take your drumstick and lightly tap it. You want to listen to the tone of each lug. So, you hear that those are two very different tones? Well, obviously this drum isn't in tune. So the way I like to tune, and you don't have to do it like this, you can go lug by lug, but the way I like to tune is I like to go start with the crosses. So I find a lug that I'm choosing, this one, and going all the way across and figuring out which one's higher pitched. So, it's probably hard for you guys to tell, and it's a little hard for me to tell. So I'm going to take my two fingers, and I'm not going to put any pressure. I'm just going to hold them in the middle, just so that it kills the resonance of the drum head. So this one's higher pitched. So I tighten this one about a quarter turn. Now they're about the same. Move on to the next set. So I'm going to start with this one. This one's a lot lower. So I tighten it up. Still a little bit low. Now they're the same. Go on to the next set. They're the same. Now that each one across is the same, you're going to split the drum in half. So this way. And I'm going to start with this plug, and I'm going to pitch match it to this lug. So obviously, this one's a lot lower than this one, which means this one is also a lot lower than this one, and this one's a lot lower than this one. So if I just tighten these two, it should be the same pitch as these two. Now they're the same pitch. Do the same thing. These ones are also lower. So I'm going to tighten these up a little bit. And then same thing with these ones. So these two are the same. So now you're just going to double check around. You're going to start with this one. You're going to do this one. Now they're very two different pitches, even though these two are the same. Actually, this one's not quite right. Another trick you can use to tell the pitch is buzzing it. So this one's still actually kind of low, which is a problem. This one's actually lower. So what's happening is, this one was originally higher than this one, but once we started going around and adjusting other ones, this one changed pitch because the head is being pushed all around. So now all the lugs are the same. These two are just resonating slightly different because of the snare bed. Now you can go to your other side. Now I failed to mention this actually because I did it before I even started recording, but you want to take a microfiber cloth and you don't want to wipe down your rim just because you don't want any dirt and debris or wood shavings on the rim sitting between your drum head and the bearing edge of the drum. So like I said, I'm extremely OCD about where my drum heads go. So in between these two lugs, then I take the rim, put it on, and I finger tighten all the lugs. I started with the bottom on purpose because you want to get a good foundation for a sound on most of your drums. It's just a pattern you kind of want to go through, especially when you're tuning toms. On snare drums, it really doesn't make a difference because the tone of your snare drum is coming strictly from your batter head. We'll get to why after we put the batter head on. With the snare drum, you want to start, pick any lug, and you want to turn it a quarter. You go through the same tuning pattern as you went on the bottom. This is after you finger tighten it though. You want to keep turning it a quarter. Some lugs may feel loose the first time you go around, maybe even the second. What's happening is the drum head is evenly sitting because you finger tightened all of them. So when you're going around and tightening some of them, but you haven't gotten to others yet, they have to even out with the rest. So keep putting quarter turns until you found the tension that you like. Now, tuning a snare drum, or any drum in general, is 100% to personal taste. I like a much higher tuned snare drum. So if we take a listen to this, that's not where I want it. Nor is this snare drum head even high enough for playing. But before we go too high in tension, we want to make sure that this head is evenly being tuned, because you don't want to just randomly turn it, or it can damage the drum head and kind of damage the drum. So you want to go and check the drum head and make sure it's evenly tuned. Starting with, choose any lug. So obviously this one's a lot lower. So I'm going to tighten it. That's a lot better. Then I go to this one. That one's a lot higher. So I tighten this one. You can also use your thumb for this technique, the dampening technique. I still can't really tell, so I'm going to use the buzz technique. This one's still obviously a lot higher. So I'm going to tension this one, tighten that one again. That's a lot closer. For whatever reason, this side happens to be looser than this side. That's better. This one's way looser. You will hear cracking. When you buy a coated head, usually it's cracking because it's still kind of stretching apart. I promise it's not a bad thing. Okay, so now all the lugs are tuned with the one across from them. Now I gotta tune all the lugs to match. So this one's a little bit lower. So I'm gonna tune both of these. That's a lot better. Then I'm going to use this one again and go to this one. This one's a lot higher. So I'm going to tune both of these up and then tune these up a little bit to match. One thing you never want to do, by the way, is you never want to tune down. If you find a lug that's higher, you always want to make sure that you tune up to the higher lug. Or if you really, really like the tone that your drum is at, that lower lug is at, you want to tune the lug that's higher up. You want to tune it past where that lower lug is and then tune up to it. You never want to just loosen it because it will decrease the longevity of your drum head and decrease the longevity of the sound. So these lugs are still looser than these ones. That's better now. And now these ones are matched, so I want to make sure these ones are matched. Good. So these ones are not the same anymore, so I want to correct that. And then I want to match these two. So these two are matched. Adjusting this one actually made this one higher. So now I just want to go through all of them except for these two and make them a little bit higher. Maybe about 1/8 of a turn. Good, now they're all in tune. Now let's check the tone of this drum again. That's still kind of low in my personal preference. Now that you've got all the lugs in tune, you can go at about 1/4 turn and bring it up to the tension that you like. It's whatever tension you like. Drums are all about personal preference when it comes to sound. Like I said, I like a really high sound. Some people might prefer a low sound. Some people might have liked it right where it was. It's all up to you. So that's starting to get to the tone that I like, but it's not quite high enough for my personal preference. That's a lot better. Now you just want to double check to make sure all the lugs are in tune. Alright, now that all your lugs are in tune, you're going to move this table out of the way, you're going to put a snare drum stand here, and you're going to put your drum on a snare drum stand upside down. So, the reason why you want to put your snare drum upside down is you're about to put the snare wires on. You can put these on upside down. The way so that you don't put them upside down is a lot of them have logos. Mine say Pure Sound because they're Evans. You can also tell not to put them upside down by the fact that the welds for the wires are on the bottom side. You want those welds on the drum. You want to put the wires down on the snare drum and pull them through the hoops. Want to do the same thing for the other side. These are kept pretty even, so I can just pull them through. So you want to make sure that these are loose. You want to hold your throw off with your knee. Stick these through the throw off, and then you're going to make sure these are loosened on this side. And you're going to stick them through this again. Now you want to make sure that the snare wire is even across the drum head. So what you want to do is you want to hold the throw off with your knee. You want to place the snare wire evenly. Then you want to grab the straps. If you're using these types of straps, you want to grab them and loop them around the lugs that are being used right here. If you just have the straps that go through, you just want to pull them taut. And I'll tighten them. Now this side is holding so that when you go to this side, keep the throw off still up. When you go to this side, you want to pull real tight and then tighten these down. So now you have this side set, and this side, I mean theoretically I guess it could be set, but I like to go back over it once more, loosen these up, and pull these actually really tight. Then you want to go flip the drum over. So what you do is you just loosen up your throw off now with this knob right here, and listen. Take a drum head, take a drumstick, and start to listen for where, with the throw off, the wires start to bounce again. Right there. So right there's that point. You tighten the throw off. And there you go. Now you got a good snare sound. Now, once you've got the wires on, you want to flip the drum back over. You want to take your drumstick with the throw off. Take your drumstick and stick it through. The reason for that is, the tighter your bottom head, the more resonance you get from your snare wires. And I like a lot from my snare wires. So I'm going to crank this up another half turn. I'm going to start with a 1/4. And then do another one. Flip the drum back over. It's not bouncing anymore. So you got to readjust it. Now, if you don't like that sound, which I don't personally, you can tighten the wires up a little bit more. But that will happen when you turn the wires off. So you have to pick and choose if you want to do something like that. I prefer a tighter snare sound anyway, so this is about right where I'm going to keep my drum. I might over time bring my top hat up a little bit more, but this sounds pretty good for now. So guys, if you like this video on how to tune your drum, leave comments below if you guys want to see other tutorials on how to do things on your drum set. Guys, if you like this video, please make sure to like, comment, definitely hit that subscribe button. There's going to be even more drum content coming up. Guys, hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys next time.